Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Let's Turn the Tide podcast by Veolia and Middle East. I'm your host, Nadine Zidani, sustainability expert and the founder and CEO of Mina Impact. Today's episode is dedicated to the Ecological Transformation Barometer 2024, an international survey conducted by Veolia in 26 countries, including the UAE and Saudi Arabia. The objective of this study is to measure people's readiness for the ecological transformation. It shows how people are ready to accept ecological solutions and their perceptions of this transition. To discuss the results of this survey, I have a special guest with me today, Pascal Grante, the CEO of Veolia and Middle East. Pascal, a warm welcome on the Let's Turn the Tide podcast, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Good afternoon, Nadine. I'm very pleased to be with you today.
Thank you. You know, I've been saying to Veolia's team, when are we having Pascal on the podcast? So I'm really excited to have you with us today. You know, I had the pleasure to go through the Ecological Transformation Barometer, and I have a lot of questions for you today. So I want to ask you first, you know, Veolia's mission is to resource the world, and you even call yourself the resourcers. So I want to know, why did Veolia decide to undertake the Ecological Transformation Barometer and engage in this extensive study?
I think Veolia understood that we have a responsibility to support the world environmental protection because people are concerned today, and that we had a real background to help the world moving to decarbonization, depollution, and development of the resources. So I think it was the right time. It started last year, and we see the evolution year after year of this barometer of the ecological transformation.
And talking about the evolution, because as you said, I think the first edition was in 2022. Now we are in 2024 for the second edition. So what are the changes and the evolution that you have noted, you know, in the results of this survey?
So the trend is there. People understand the need for change. As an example, Nadine, 66% of the world population understand that the cost of inaction is higher than the cost of action. So it gives us, once again, a big responsibility to take action, to bring our services to the world, to our region, to our countries, to our clients.
What about the Middle East? Because the Middle East is part of, you know, the 26 countries with the UAE and Saudi Arabia. What is the evolution of the results for populations in those two countries?
So first of all, we were very lucky to be chosen, UAE and KSA, to be chosen to be part of this barometer because it helps us understanding our client. It helps us showing our interest in their country, in their challenges. And we are not surprised. This region is very motivated to sustain the environment of the world and bring solution. So the trend is there. People are more and more aware about the situation. They want to improve. They want to participate. They are ready to pay a little bit more. They understand that the challenge has a cost, but they are expecting solutions.
And something else that is very interesting in this edition of the barometer is that you're making the connection between health and climate change, noting that 71% of UAE residents believe climate change is the greatest health threat facing humanity. Do you think this perception could serve as a driver or even an accelerator for the ecological transformation?
Absolutely, Nadine. Who would have thought that the Middle East would have been the one thinking that climate change is a threat for the humanity, whereas this is one of the hottest places in the world with water scarcity. So people from the Middle East, people from the UAE and Saudi Arabia are very resilient people. So their position to understand that it is a threat shows their interest to move things and to take action.
And you just said, Pascal, that we've seen progress in and a positive trend in the results. What do you think triggered actually this positive trend and change in the results, especially in the Middle East?
The first one, Nadine, is definitely COP28. The opportunity for the region to show their ambition and to participate to a world summit on climate change was very, very important. The second one is, which is essential, is to have a vision. And all of these countries of the Middle and the Near East have a vision. It gives a framework for coming and discussing and sharing with people. They are recruiting a lot of very competent people with whom it's easy to talk and share values and have a vision. And I will not forget that they have also created champions. They have created structure that are embracing those big projects. So you have CERC in Saudi Arabia, you have Tadweer in the UAE, and many BIAs in the region. Those structures are aiming at becoming the champion of waste management, integrated waste management system for their geographies and helping the market to come and bring their solution.
And something else that is very unique, I would say, to our region is in Saudi Arabia, people seem more inclined to act and accept solutions that would place the kingdom at the forefront of ecological transformation, setting an example with 55% in favor compared to 48% worldwide.
The demonstration is that the population of this region is very proud, and they are right to be, because there are so many things to do, and they believe they can do it. They are not hesitant. They want to participate, they want to change, and they don't fear the changes.
And what's the strategy? Because I know that recently you shared, the Veolia, group strategy. What does it mean for the Middle East? Can you tell us a little bit more about your strategy for the next, few years?
Nadine, you must be talking about Green Up. This is our new strategic plan for the 3 years to come, which is something absolutely extraordinary, because we've been solicited by our high management last year, thinking on how we can deploy those solutions in our countries, in our geographies, with our clients, municipal, industrial, and all the resources of the world. Thought on how we can implement those solutions for our clients tomorrow, because this is quite significant changes. And we come with a plan, our Green Up plan. We are now at the stage of presenting this Green Up in each one of our regions. So this will definitely be a tool for development of our activities and our green activities around the world. Very, very interesting.
You have 3 pillars, in your strategy: decarbonizing, depollute, and regenerate resources. I have an interesting other, fact about that from the barometer. The barometer highlights significant improvements in the perception of the UAE and Saudi Arabia populations regarding drinking recycled wastewater from 2022 to today. Can you share more insights about that and any relevant projects that you've been working on in the region?
Okay, so of course, the objective is not to drink water from wastewater by nature. But it is to understand the move, which is that we can do a lot with technical solution, understanding, communication with the population on how to resource things, material, into new resources. For instance, this water is frequently used in the Middle East for gardening, landscaping, washing, and it shows that thanks to the trust people have in us, they can go very far when understanding that water scarcity can lead to this kind of extent. We have to change the way we used to think and to act. And we understand today that we don't want any longer to leave the supermarket full of plastic bags. Whereas we could use paper or other way or recyclable bags and avoid this production of this intensive production of plastic.
Yeah, and I think that's very interesting because it's one of the major improvements compared, to 2 years ago. So definitely the work of Veolia and all the awareness as well has been working extremely positive. I want to come back to decarbonizing because that's again one of your pillar at Veolia, and I have another interesting fact: 82% of UAE residents are willing to pay a bit more for energy produced locally from non-recyclable waste and biomass to reduce CO2 emissions, which is higher, by the way, than in Europe at 76%. Does this surprise you?
It's very interesting. We could have thought that they didn't care about energy because they have gas, they have oil. But they understand that to preserve this resource, they also have to go for decarbonized local source of energy. And they easily accept the idea that anytime we can convert water waste into energy, into local decarbonized energy, this is very useful for the planet. So we are doing it these days in, for instance, capturing the methane gas that is produced by the waste in a landfill. Another example, when you bring waste to a waste-to-energy plant, and we have 2 plants in the region, one in Sharjah and one in Istanbul, we are producing 100 megawatt of power that correspond to hundred thousands of people electricity consumption. And people are happy because they understand that through the solution we provide, they will be able to be a contributor of a future net zero. But people understand these days how important it is to do the job well so that we create these resources in the end.
Yeah, and I think that's something very clear in the study that people are ready to pay more, which can be quite surprising, but is definitely the result of, as you said, the awareness and the understanding of the work you do and what you bring to the planet. I have another fact, on that. People in the UAE are willing to pay more for fruit, vegetables, and meat to help clean up and protect agricultural soil and reduce health risks. Again, the connection, with health. Could you share more insights on this?
Again, we are in a region of natural resources scarcity. And people value food, vegetable, meat. And they understand that should they be able to produce it locally, it would have a great value. For a very, very long period of time, they could not imagine it unless pumping in deep wells water, but which is not so abundant. So these days, they understand that through the technology brought by Veolia, we are able to grow plants, vegetables, fruits. We are able to contribute to a healthy agriculture in a sustainable and green way. And I think that this is all about education of the people, whereas they could have said years ago, never, we don't want that. But they have understood that it is now in their hands. We can live in a nice world tomorrow, provided we are all conscious that we have to make efforts, but the solutions are there, even on the food industry.
Yeah, definitely. You touched upon, the strength of the populations in the Middle East? You said, earlier, resilient. The population is very resilient. What do you believe are other strengths of Middle Eastern populations when it comes to facing climate change?
I think the first element of their strength is that they've been facing, not climate change, but heat for the past centuries. And they were used to it in a way that nobody could have imagined. Due to their quick development, they could come in a world that looks totally natural, but they very quickly understood that they also had the resources thanks to the sun, thanks to the water they produce, thanks to the way they live, because I think their value system is very strong. It is ancestral. It is in their DNA. They could also go for this, sustainability of their activity. And I think it gives us a great potential for improvement in the region because people are eager to come in these areas.
Yeah, absolutely. If we step back, from the Ecological Transformation Barometer survey, as the CEO of Veolia and Elabe in the Middle East, what's your major intake from this study? What for you is the most important information as the CEO?
The first one, Nadine, is the consciousness of the people, because without a clear understanding of the population, of the government, there is nothing much we can do. The second one is the clear need for growth in the region that gives a lot of opportunity of bringing a good solution to the region. The third thing is, as we are doing now, our communication with the people in the countries will be essential in the future to really explain what we are doing, so that we can embark them with us. And of course, one element which is essential is never disappoint. Mm-hmm. Because the level of expectation that people have on a company like Veolia is tremendous. It's really exciting, and I carry a lot of enthusiasm on my mission, because I realize that my responsibility is big, but the opportunity to provide services and solutions to the society is bigger than ever. So I think we have a great mission. So we can be proud of that and very happy about it.
100% agree with you. And something that you said to me just before we started the podcast, the fact that you go beyond, by just, this is the study is one of the elements of connecting with your stakeholders and not just providing services, but going way beyond and really trying to understand, populations and so the society, and see how you can really bring a change. Thank you so much, Pascal, for joining us today. I know you are extremely busy traveling, so thank you so much for taking the time to have this important conversation on the podcast.
My pleasure, Nadine. Thank you very much to you.
Thanks again to Pascal Grante for joining us today on the Let's Turn the Tide podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and as well search on your favorite podcast platform for Veolia, Near and Middle East. You can as well follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn. And stay tuned for our upcoming episode.